As indicated last week, the current work from home orders will expire at the end of May. As of June 1, persons other than our vulnerable population, that is, persons aged 65 and over, and persons with comorbidities, will be allowed to return to work. The PSOJ has been working with the health authorities, and we are well advanced with developing the infection prevention and safety protocols that would be needed for the workplace. I've heard the concerns of certain groups from certain quarters, and I want to take this opportunity to clarify the government's intent in allowing the work from home orders to expire. We're not saying that everyone should return to work regardless of their circumstances. We acknowledge that there are persons who would have responsibilities by virtue of schools being closed and having children at home to attend to. We acknowledge, and we have said, that there are persons with comorbidities who should be very careful how they return to work. And therefore, we expect that the employers would exercise a high level of understanding in this period. But we also have the obligation, the duty to return our economy to its full productive capacity as quickly as possible. So our new theme, is work safe and work smart. So work that does not need physical presence at the workplace, we are encouraging our employers to dialogue with their employees, negotiate with their employees, use the facilities that are available under the flexible work arrangement legislation to put in place the framework, the measures, the systems, the solutions that will ensure that persons who have children at home, by virtue of school being out, persons who are ill, if they can be facilitated with these measures, let us use them. We have had this law for the last 6 years. It hasn't been fully utilized. Let us utilize it now. There is a sense as well that the government is moving too quickly to reopen the economy. And I want to address this point briefly. The Jamaican government has been very careful not to shut down the economy. Somehow, in the crescendo of opinions, we forget that there was an overwhelming call from certain quarters to shut down the economy. I mean, it's as if those calls were not made. The government did not respond to that. The government outlined a process that if cases reached a certain level and it became situationally appropriate, then we would still act, but with measure. And you would have seen that where it became appropriate, the government acted proportionately in a measured way using the available data. And so you would have seen the government utilize community quarantine. We had lockdown of one parish, and we contained workplace clusters. But we never shut down the entire economy. We took measures to control our borders, and we have been doing that from the start. From even before the first case came to Jamaica, we put in place travel restrictions, and we gradually tightened those restrictions till we reached the point of closing the borders to incoming passenger traffic. And now we are at the point where we have to now change those restrictions to allow for the full operation of our economy.
I must say that we are pleased with the response from the operators of bars across the country. We have sampled since the period that the order was lifted, more than 2,500 bars have been inspected, and we are seeing where the general acceptance of the guidelines that has been laid out, Prime Minister, have been met. We have seen where, especially in the corporate area, there's a very high percentage of compliance with operators taking the necessary steps to ensure in the areas such as where there are no stools, benches, chairs, or tables. We have seen a high of over 60% in those areas, where we have asked where gaming operations in terms of machines are placed in areas where social distancing can be practiced. That is one area that we are not happy about, because we are only enjoying over 30% compliance in that area. In terms of putting in the necessary facilities, we see where the bartenders are wearing masks, a high of over 70%. The presence of washing areas and sanitization for persons attending the bar, over 70%. We're seeing where the observing of the curfew hours is extremely high. Over 90% of the operations are complying with that order. And surprisingly, Prime Minister and colleagues, in the area of 5 persons, including the bartender, based on the survey that we have done, over 80% compliance in that area, and that is one area that we are very pleased. We are also observing the same discipline within the areas of the dominoes and other games, where the compliance is relatively good. Prime Minister, one of what we have found in the exercise that we have been undertaking is that a significant number of these bars are operating without the requisite permits, spirit license, food anglers permit, trade license, etc., is wanting. But a protocol is being worked out between the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Justice to ensure that we work with these operators to comply fully. And the last thing, Prime Minister, this survey that is being conducted on over 11,000 bars, village bars and taverns across the country, is not the final decision. We are doing an exercise that will determine, but the final decision is that of the Ministry of Health, and they have been working closely with us to ensure that we do the survey. So we are expecting that by the end of the 14 days, we would have surveyed almost the majority of those bars that are open and are operating. But overall, we are seeing a positive response from the wider public on this matter.